Presidential motorcades are rightly considered real fortresses on wheels. But did you know that even such vehicles find themselves in all sorts of situations? Watch the video until the end to find out whose limousine a black cat dared not cross, and whose car got stuck in the gates of the royal palace. During an official visit to the United Kingdom, an incident occurred that was more like a joke, which could have led to a serious diplomatic misunderstanding between the US and the UK. President Bill Clinton's motorcade was following Prime Minister Tony Blair's car across the famous Tower Bridge, one of London's main landmarks. The situation took an unexpected turn when the front part of the motorcade with Blair and some of Clinton's security vehicles managed to safely cross the bridge. However, the American president himself was not so lucky. Just seconds after the first vehicles passed, the bridge began to open to allow a cargo ship through. As a result, Clinton found himself trapped on the opposite bank from the main part of his delegation and security. The incident provoked a strong reaction from the U.S. President's Security Service. Secret Service agents were furious about such a breach of protocol and the potential security threat to the head of state. However, the Tower Bridge administration just shrugged, as they had an ironclad alibi. All actions were carried out in strict accordance with the river traffic schedule. It turned out that the high-ranking guests were slightly delayed and fell behind the original schedule. Meanwhile, the vessel was following the schedule set several weeks before the American president's visit. Sometimes, even a simple barge can prevent the head of state from proceeding along the planned route. Angela Merkel, the Iron Lady of Europe, was calmly returning to Berlin after a stay at her country house when an 82-year-old man crashed into her official car. It turns out he wanted to change to the left lane but failed to properly judge the distance between the cars. In the end, everything turned out well. There were no injuries. Merkel transferred to another car in the motorcade and continued her journey with a slight delay. Later in Germany, possibly indirectly and partly because of this incident, a serious public debate emerged about the need for regular checks for older drivers. People who are 70 and older will have to confirm their driving skills every 5 years. By this age, reaction speed significantly decreases, and vision and hearing also deteriorate. This could help reduce the number of road traffic accidents. However, it is often the case that a car becomes the main means of transportation for elderly people, without which they cannot lead a full life. What do you think? Is it necessary to take such serious measures? During an official visit to Germany in 2017, British Prime Minister Theresa May found herself in an awkward situation that could have served as the plot for a good political comedy. Arriving for talks with German Chancellor Angela Merkel to discuss issues, the British leader encountered an unexpected technical problem, captured by journalists and later widely reported by tabloids. The car with Theresa May arrived at the meeting place with her German counterpart in strict accordance with protocol. However, when the moment came to exit, it was discovered that the door of the motorcade car wouldn't open. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom found herself literally locked inside her official vehicle. The situation caused obvious confusion both for May herself and her security, who initially didn't understand the reason for the delay as they tried to open the door from the outside. This episode lasted a few seconds, after which the door was finally unlocked. The Chancellor of Germany, who had already come out to greet her British colleague, became a direct witness to the incident. On social media, this situation immediately turned into memes. Someone was holding the door from the other side. Users wrote with laughter. In the midst of a tense election campaign in California, Donald Trump had to face unexpected difficulties. Several hundred aggressively minded protesters completely blocked the main entrance to the hotel, where a rally of his supporters was supposed to take place. The U.S. Secret Service, which had to urgently develop an alternative plan to get Trump to the venue, came up with an unexpected solution to the situation. Contrary to the usual protocol, the motorcade was forced to approach the building from the back, and the president reached his destination only after squeezing through a gap between two fences and walking across the lawn. It wasn't the easiest way I've ever entered a building. Trump later shared his impressions with supporters. We were crawling under the fence, around the fence. It was actually like I was crossing the border. Yes, the president definitely didn't plan on getting to the rally in such a manner. Alas, even the leaders of countries are not immune to natural phenomena. But it seems that snowstorms are particularly fond of making adjustments to presidential schedules. For instance, 2 U.S. presidents had to be delayed for a while due to a snowstorm that reached them. Barack Obama, caught in a snowstorm on the road, was forced to sit in traffic for over an hour. The president was supposed to fly to the White House, but again, due to the chaos, he couldn't. He had to come down from the skies and use a car. His motorcade made an unscheduled stop in the suburbs of Washington. 10 years later, his successor Joe Biden also couldn't avoid encountering this natural phenomenon. Several 100,000 electricity consumers in Washington were left without power, and children couldn't return to classes after the Christmas holidays because the blizzard was so severe that the president's plane couldn't arrive on time. After waiting for about half an hour for the runway to be cleared of snow, the president was finally able to land. But misfortune awaited even then. Biden, like Obama, got stuck in traffic jams caused by the snowfall. Even if you have a presidential motorcade in your garage, don't rush to hit the streets in bad weather if you don't want to spend the rest of the day stuck in traffic. Usually, residents greet government motorcades with admiration, but sometimes they are not at all pleased with the vehicles accompanying their leader. The residents of Valencia were not at all pleased with the arrival of King Felipe VI. The reason was that the country had recently experienced one of the worst disasters in modern history. The flood caused significant damage. In contrast, the kilometer-long motorcade of the King of Spain, who personally came to Valencia to assess the scale of the disaster, could not help but be perceived by the locals as a mockery. The video of Felipe VI moving through the flood-stricken city quickly went viral. Social media users started joking that the motorcade, comparable in size to a street, was necessary for the king to avoid getting dirty. During the morning events dedicated to bidding farewell to Queen Elizabeth II in London, U.S. President Joe Biden and his wife Jill found themselves in an unusual situation. Despite all the privileges afforded to the head of state, their armored motorcade got stuck in traffic on the streets of the British capital. Although most roads in central London were closed due to the funeral, the traffic was still quite busy. Biden's motorcade, consisting of several vehicles, moved slower than expected. As a result, the presidential limousine, which ended up at the back of the convoy, stopped near a coffee shop, and bystanders were able to see and photograph the American leader. In response, he waved at them with a smile. Most world leaders, including the President of France and the Prime Minister of New Zealand, traveled to the funeral on special buses organized by the British authorities. However, Biden was allowed to arrive at the ceremony in a separate motorcade, for which he had to pay the price of waiting in traffic, from which even his presidential status could not save him. One ordinary weekday morning, the motorcade of Bulgarian President Rumen Radev was involved in a traffic accident. The incident occurred on the ring road of the city of Plovdiv when one of the escort vehicles collided with a truck that suddenly veered into the oncoming lane. As a result of the accident, 2 people were injured. However, the head of state himself managed to come out unscathed. It later turned out that it was the truck driver who violated traffic rules by entering the oncoming lane. This was the cause of the accident. Rumen Radev was not the only president who happened to be involved in a collision with a large vehicle. Dmitry Medvedev's visit to Kamchatka in 2012 did not go without a similar high-profile incident. But this time, a member of the presidential motorcade was thrown onto an SUV parked on the roadside. The cause of the accident was a sudden tire puncture. Presidential motorcades need to be more cautious when they notice heavy vehicles on the roads. Unfortunately, no one is immune to car malfunctions. The car escorting Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić was traveling on a country road as part of the motorcade when a sudden tire blowout occurred at high speed. After that, part of the tire completely detached from the vehicle and flew into the oncoming lane. However, the driver managed to maintain control of the vehicle and safely come to a stop. After stopping, the security team along with the president got out and inspected the vehicle. Despite the fact that Vučić safely transferred to another vehicle and reached his destination, he stated that there was nothing special about the incident and there was no need to make a fuss about it. However, the Prime Minister of Serbia commented on the event as follows: "I wouldn't play around with such things. We need to find out exactly how the wheel came off. This could have threatened the president, and therefore the entire country. Now, the technical maintenance of the presidential motorcade will be taken even more seriously. Come, music. During Joe Biden's visit to the campaign headquarters, an unusual traffic incident occurred that could have had serious consequences. At the moment when the President of the United States, along with First Lady Jill Biden, were exiting the building, an unexpected scene unfolded in the parking lot. As the President, accompanied by security agents, was heading towards his armored SUV, a silver sedan suddenly appeared on the road, and then the car crashed at full speed into a parked Secret Service SUV. After the crash, the initiator of the accident tried to continue driving, but the Secret Service agents reacted instantly. They blocked the car's path and took the driver out at gunpoint. It is claimed that the accused had no malicious intent. Media reports indicate that it was raining at the time of the incident. This could have been the reason why the driver, who did not plan to ram the presidential motorcade, lost control of the vehicle. The SUV involved in the accident was performing an important function. It was blocking the intersection to ensure the safe exit of the presidential motorcade. According to eyewitnesses, the collision was so strong that there was a loud bang, attracting the attention of everyone present. Journalists at the scene noted that Biden's face showed genuine surprise. Even such an incident could not affect the schedule of the U.S. president. The security team placed Biden in the car waiting for him, and he, along with his wife, safely returned to their home. The Pope holds power not much less than that of a president, which is why he is often accompanied by. For instance, during his apostolic visit to Peru in January 2018, Pope Francis demonstrated an example of true compassion by intentionally breaking strict security protocol. This touching moment was captured on video and published, sparking a wave of admiration around the world. What happened? The traditional papal motorcade was moving along a specially cordoned route in Lima, where thousands of believers lined both sides of the road to see him. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. One of the horses from the mounted police, ensuring order during the event, suddenly bucked, frightened by the sounds of the vehicles accompanying the Pope, and threw off a female police officer. According to eyewitnesses, the fall looked quite painful, although fortunately, serious injuries were avoided. Contrary to all safety rules, which prescribe continuing to move in such situations, Francis asked to immediately stop the motorcade, and then personally got out to help the injured woman. Bending down to her and inquiring about her condition, he heard that she was not injured. The young woman thanked the Pope for his compassion. This is not the first time Pope Francis has refused to act according to the expected script. During a flight from Chile to Peru, he married a flight attendant and a steward, even though it was not part of his visit's plans. The couple, who received the Pope's attention, lives happily, raising 2 children. According to Belgian media, during Donald Trump's visit to Brussels, his legendary armored limousine, known as the Beast, encountered an unexpected problem. It turned out that the massive vehicle simply couldn't pass through the gates of the royal residence, where the meeting between the American leader and King Philippe and Queen Matilda of Belgium was supposed to take place. As a result, Trump had to leave his super-protected transport outside the palace and walk to the royal couple accompanied by U.S. Secret Service agents. This incident is not the first in the history of American presidential motorcades. In 2011, a similar situation happened with Barack Obama during his visit to Ireland. At that time, his armored Cadillac got stuck while exiting the U.S. Embassy grounds in Dublin, causing considerable confusion among the security personnel. Trump's presidential limousine is a true engineering marvel with a fantastic level of protection. According to some reports, the U.S. government spent about $15 million on the development and production of this vehicle. The car is equipped with unique security systems, including a device for creating a smoke screen that can instantly conceal the vehicle from potential threats. The armored body of the Beast can withstand not only direct hits from firearms, but also a mine explosion or a chemical weapon attack. And inside the limousine, there is always a supply of donor blood compatible with the president's blood type, in case of emergency medical assistance. Despite all these advanced technologies, even such a high-tech vehicle sometimes proves powerless against ordinary, everyday obstacles. Whether it's the narrow gates of an ancient palace or an unexpectedly tight exit from diplomatic grounds. One day, when the motorcade of Russian President Vladimir Putin was following the planned route to the Military Medical Academy in St. Petersburg, a funny incident occurred that immediately spread across social media. An unexpected obstacle suddenly appeared in the path of the government motorcade. A black cat decided to cross the road at the most inopportune moment. The animal calmly stepped onto the roadway, clearly intending to cross the street, but upon reaching the middle, it noticed the approaching cars, and assessing the situation, decided to turn around and run away. Apparently, even harbingers of bad luck back down in the face of an armored motorcade and strict security. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Pancakes for everyone. And remember, running across the road in front of a presidential motorcade is a bad idea.